Question for you, Coach. You've had Florida's number the last couple of years as far as playing them with Mississippi State. With them having a new offensive coordinator and a new coach who's defensive-minded, what special trick you got for them this year?
We don't have to play them, so that's a good thing. Hopefully it'll be a fun special trick for us in Atlanta. That'll be a good deal. You know, I know they have a lot of talent down there, and I know, Will's going to do a great job getting them going.
Can you talk a little bit about Chris and your quarterback, from Montgomery, and just how you've seen him develop over the years, a couple of years back?
Well, I had a lot of concerns with Chris Ruff when I first got to Mississippi State. Chris is just his commitment to playing the quarterback position. And Chris, when we got there, I think after the first year, at the end of his first season, I think he really started to understand it and put some time in going into last year. And I think actually going through all of last season as the starter, I think he understands now how far he still had to go. Where he, I think in his mind going into last year, he was prepared, and I think, now he's taken it to a whole other level of just his commitment and his work ethic, understanding the rigors of being a quarterback in the Southeastern Conference, of what it takes, and he's just completely bought into the program. Understands the offense better now, understands the program, and understands the expectations of him as a leader of our team.
Coach, what was your reaction to the school raising $36 million in fundraising, and have you put in your request for Scott Strickland as to what slice of pie you might get out of it?
Well, I think we're going to get a big slice into our new football facility that we're supposed to open and break ground here in the next couple months. And, I think that's a great tribute to a lot of people backing the program, understanding the things that we need to continue to have success and be competitive, and to build a championship program. Building a championship program is not just about the coach or just the players. It's a championship program, and it's everybody involved in the university, from our administration with Scott Strickland and Dr. Markeem, our president, believing in what we're trying to build. To our fan base, our alumni, and all our supporters that have jumped in with the increased giving at the university, and are going to get a brand new football facility built for us here in the next year and a half. And hopefully it's one of the best facilities in the conference.
Coach Mullen, you guys, your neighbor across the way, Coach Saban, collectively put a big beat on the state of Michigan this past year. And how big was that win for you guys in the Gator Bowl, and how do you use that as a momentum builder for your team?
Yeah, well, those are two. If you combine those scores of us against
I
that,
121 to 21.
wow, that's pretty good. No, I think it's great. Obviously, you want to see everybody, especially New Year's Day is a great day for us as a conference to go out and show the strength of the type of conference that we have. And, I think when you look at the success that obviously Nick's had and what Alabama does, what everybody in the league does, but to go out and be able to play all those bowl games against top teams, and to show that the level of competition and how strong the SEC is. That's probably the best day of the year for us as a conference to make a statement.
Coach, I got probably a two-part question about your schedule. Number one, I know football teams and football programs are a lot about routine. You got 2 games on Thursday night, which kind of throws things off a little bit, but it gives you national exposure. And then you're going to get 3 of your biggest games of the year at home this year. Talk about the importance or how much stock you really put into playing a home game like that.
I think it's great. The first part, playing Thursday night, we play the first game of the season Thursday night, so you're not really on a short week because you're coming out of training camp. And I think that's a great opportunity for us. It also breaks up. It really puts an end to training camp. Gives our opportunity. In college football today, our young guys are in school. They finish finals the day of our first practice in summer school. So they don't really get a break. And playing Thursday night is going to give them the opportunity to have at least a weekend off after training camp before we get into the SEC schedule. And I like it. I like playing. I have no problem playing the Thursday night games. I think I watch the Thursday night game every single week, so I know all of your peers around the country are going to be watching you. It's a great opportunity to make a statement that the whole country is watching you on a Thursday night. Get to go play in those games. And, having big home games. We have some huge ones at home this year, and But to be honest with you, when you're playing in the Southeastern Conference, you flip it, and teams that show up next year, they're going to be huge games again next year. So there's so much depth in this conference. And I think the thing that makes it very challenging is not that you have a couple big games on your schedule, that you have a big game every single week when you play this conference.
Coach, now that you got your team to a January 1 bowl and won a big game, and you got the expectations up, what do you think the expectations are amongst the fan base?
I know for our fan base, it's very, very high. Our fan base wants to see a championship football team. They want to see a team that wins the SEC West, a team that goes to Atlanta and wins an SEC championship. And I know we've been there before. Mississippi State's been to Atlanta before and played for the SEC title. Our fans want to see us get back there and want to see us finish the deal this time. For us, as a coaching staff, my expectations for this season are, that's always going to be our goal. That's one goal that we can control. Getting to Atlanta and winning the SEC West is a goal we have control over. Beyond that, I want to see our team improve. I want to see us be a better football team, a harder working, more disciplined, tougher football team than we were last season.
Georgia, Florida State, how does the end goal compare to those
To be honest with you, with those, it's a bigger rivalry than those games. Being involved in them because you're Florida, Georgia. It's not an in-state rivalry. Florida State is, but it has no conference implications. You're not in the same conference. So I think when you look at the state of Mississippi, the lines drawn. Are you Mississippi State, or are you a school at North person? And it goes when you look. I think sometimes when you have state-to-state battles, it's your state against their state. When you look at an in-state rivalry, it is neighbor. It alternates down the whole road, and I think that's what makes it such a big game.
Coach, you lost a big with Derek Sherrod on the offensive side of the ball. Who gets that job to try and fill those shoes?
You have two guys with James Carman and Blaine Clausell battling for that left tackle spot, which are big shoes to fill. One thing that I learned earlier in my coaching career is you don't try to replace players. Derek Sherrod, obviously a first-round draft pick, an unbelievable talent for us. You don't sit and say, okay, look, you got to do what Derek did last year to one of these guys. You go in and you build around their strengths and what those specific players can do, and try to put we'll try to put James and Blaine or whoever's in there in a position to be successful. And you might not be able to count on and do certain things you can count on Derek to do, but that's our job as coaches to make sure we're putting them in the best position to be successful. And if you just try to replace guys, you can get yourself in trouble.
You also had some big losses in the linebacking core. How confident are you in those linebackers you've got coming in?
We got to see. We have some talent at the linebacker position. But you lost an awful lot of tackles, an awful lot of experience, an awful lot of leadership with Chris White, KJ Wright, leaving to go to the NFL. So with those guys walking out the door, these young guys really have to step up. And I know we have the talent that can get the job done. It is our ability to handle the big stage, the maturity factor that we need them to have for us to be successful and to lead the defense. And that linebacker, that's your middle linebacker spot. Whoever's going to win that job, that's the center point of the defense. That focal point of that defense. They have to be a strong personality and be ready for the line.
Replacing Coach Diaz, how will you, break down assignments between Coach Wilson and Coach Collins?
It'd be really similar to how it was last year. Manny called the defenses last year. Chris is going to call them this year. Which would be, the change. But, I think when we went through the process having co-coordinators last year, and I wanted to continue that this year, I saw some great strengths in it of the personalities and also the coach development that happened within our staff. Having Chris Wilson and Jeff Collins this year in those roles, a big part of it to me is how are they going to work together? That's decided before we even make a hire. Part of the interview process, I have Chris do completely separate interviews when we were looking for that spot than me, because I want to make sure there's someone that he feels very comfortable working together with. And I think, I think we hit that in Jeff.
That's it? Thumbs up?
Time's up.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
It's like a chess